Attorney Marketing Powerhouse. Selling press releases to attorneys, doing it this way is so freaking easy that I cannot imagine that it's going to take us too long to go through this whole thing. Feel free to ask questions. I'm not going to completely demo the software because on the how to use, we've got two very good how to use videos. But I'm just going to walk you through the whole thing and make sure that you absolutely understand what's going on. But again, this is amazingly easy. So when you got this, you ended up, this is the, let's go here first. Okay, so you ended up here in the members area. You got some bonuses. By the way, this webinar, a recording of this webinar is going to end up right here under Attorney Marketing Powerhouse bonuses. And you got the training here and the software here. Richard, that's a great question. Now, don't let me forget to answer it because it's got a surprising answer, frankly. Now, the training, again, it's really, really easy, guys. It's kind of like if you do this, if you will just do this on a consistent basis, you cannot screw this up, literally. You don't have to be, I mean, they're press releases. It's not like you're taking out someone's appendix or doing a heart transplant. It's just not that big. It's not that big of a deal. So it is, excuse me, I'm drinking some tea. It is literally a matter of reaching out, even Richard, you're a pretty smart guy. So I suspect you're going to do fine if you can stay focused. Did y'all hear that? That's really the deal, because really this is just a matter of putting yourself on a sort of a weekly thing. I mean, that's what we do when we want more clients, is we just go back into prospecting mode, and that's what you need to do. You need to send out I mean, you've got everything you need, but you need to send out the direct mail letter, X number of them per week. All right. So it's going to cost you like a couple of bucks to send one out with the stamp. Okay. And those are US prices. So I don't know what it's like to mail stuff in Canada or the UK. So a couple of bucks. So you take a budget. I mean, this is a business. If you want to compare starting this business to starting virtually any other business on the planet, Google franchises and see how much those cost. It is very shocking. But anyway, so you take a budget, you decide how much of that you can afford to spend per week. You divide that by your cost per mailing. David, another fabulous question. Thank you so much. Arthur, tell me where you live, please, and I'll answer that a little later. That's another. Okay. So you can obviously get to the internet because you're here. Medellin, Arthur, have you and I talked about Medellin before? I think we have, because I was actually reading some stuff about it. Yeah. Okay. So cool. Again, guys, I'm trying to make the quick start webinar quick, so I'm going to try to. I tend to get off base because people tell me interesting things like where they live, but I'm going to try to stay focused here. So treat it like a business, guys. This is a baby business. Granted, it's not going to take much money to start this. What, $100, $200, and you don't even have to have that all at one time. You literally just have to take how much money you can spare per week. And if you can't spare any money per week, then quit buying the crap that you're buying and have some money to actually start a business with, right? So you're going to take the money that you're, per week, you're going to divide that by your cost of mailing. That's the number of direct mail letters you're going to send out. With the way I showed you to do it with the, I don't even know how they pronounce that, avvo.com, avo, whatever. With that website, you can get all the leads you want for free. We talk in the training about also doing this on LinkedIn, and that's probably that there are a couple of more steps to that. But as you do those steps, if you will follow the training. As you do those steps, you're actually going to be building a little more of a relationship with the attorney or the practice manager that you're contacting. So you will, the letter when you send it to them will not be just cold. I mean, it won't be just coming to them totally out of the blue, right? But you know, LinkedIn, Avo, that's free. So really, it's just a matter of getting a budget, dividing it by your cost per mailing, and then you deciding to put the freaking blinders on and just do this. In other words, you send your mailings out, give your mailings a certain number of time, you know, a certain number of days to get there. I mean, for here in the United States, I give that 5 days. And then follow up with an email, given that you have their email address. And for most of these people, you will, like 95% of them, you can find their email address fairly easily. Put it all in a spreadsheet so you can keep up with it. And then if you, now you can stop there. You can do direct mail and email, direct mail, email, direct mail, email. So you just build a routine out of this. The longer you do this, okay, so let's say you send out, this isn't the magic number. I'm just using this because it's 5 times 10, okay? You send out 10 letters a day, 5 days a week, that's 50. Well, so 50 this week, 50 next week, 50 the following week, 50 the next week, 50 the next week, 50 the next week. That's a ton, okay? You don't have to do that. It just was a convenient number for me to multiply by 5. 5 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So, and then follow up. And the longer you do this, the better your results are going to be. The reason is a lot of people, a lot of your recipients, a lot of your potential clients, you know, they get your direct mail letter. They say, this is pretty interesting. They put it on their desk, right? It's just like we all do. This is why you have to have multiple touches. And Richard, I'm starting to answer your question. This is why you have to have multiple touches in order to sell stuff. So they put it on their desk, and then a few days later, they get an email from you. They read that and say, oh yeah, man, I was pretty interested in that. Well, you know, you may say, well, what about the people that aren't interested in that? Well, screw them. They don't get to buy from you, okay? And this is where the consistency and the numbers come in. We are not interested in converting we are interested only in finding people for whom this is appealing. We are not interested in quote unquote selling the way most of y'all think of selling, which is incorrect, but we are not interested in, thank you, Arthur, I was stumbling around redeeming the unredeemable. Yes. And quite frankly, most people, they may want this, they may not want this, but most people aren't going to take you up on it. If most of your prospects took you up on stuff and you ended up making a sale, they wouldn't call that thing prospecting, they would call that thing selling, okay? Prospecting precedes selling. And prospecting is nothing more. It is literally one of the most boring things on the planet, but it's also one of the most profitable things on the planet is prospecting. Every salesperson has to prospect. Most of them hate it because it is really, really boring. I mean, it's monotonous. Letters go out, emails go out, and we'll talk about following up with a call in a minute. Letters go out, emails go out. Tomorrow, letters go out and emails go out. Next day, letters go out, emails go out. Okay, you start doing that, then you're going to see a trickling because you don't need many. Gary, God, y'all are asking such wonderful questions. Thank you so much, Gary. That is a fabulous question. And I'm going to scroll back through these great questions and answer them. But Gary and everybody else, if I miss your question, let me know. All right, just copy and paste it back in. So where was I? Richard, I said, I'm going to answer to that. Yeah, the daily routine. Arthur, I should just put you on here and let you do this. Yeah, exactly. The daily routine. In other words, after you do this, okay, let me start this thought over again. Because I'm having, when I get on these webinars, my brain turns into fireworks. I just got so much to tell you guys, and I'm struggling to do it fairly rapidly. One of the first times, this was like 8, 9, 10 years ago, one of the first times I ever taught a group of people to do direct mailing, which I have done for years very successfully. One guy, it may have been more than one, but this was the person who told me about this in support. They sent out one group of mailings, and that was it. I've forgotten how many they sent out, 25, 50, I don't know. But they sent out one group of mailings, and then they waited a couple of days, and they put in a support ticket and said, Lee, this doesn't work. You can't do it like that. I mean, and I understand, everybody wants to have a sure deal. There are no sure deals, right? It's called validation. Everybody wants to know that how they're spending their time is validated, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong with the guy's thought process, except for prospecting doesn't work like that. You can't prospect one time. I mean, you could if you like sent out, if you were like a direct mail house and you sent out 10,000 letters, yes, you could do it at one time, right? But for a small business, you can't do it at one time. You've got to do it for a certain number of days. I mean, you've got to do it day after day after day, week after week after week, month after month after month. It builds. People, it is amazing to me the number of people that will get back in touch with me, and I've reached out to them 6 months or a year in the past, 3 months in the past, at least a month in the past. I mean, the number of people that you're going to convert right now, you send them in, you're going to convert some if you keep doing this, but you sent them a direct mail letter, you followed up with email, and they called you right back. Now, there are going to be some, but that's not going to be the majority of the sales you make. And you hear the dog bark. I've explained this on every webinar. We have a new rescue dog, and he plays with my older dog, and they get all excited. And for some reason, they do this whenever I start a webinar. But we're big believers in rescuing dogs, so we'll just have to put up with it. So you got my point on that. I mean, you can't just test the waters. That's not going to work. You've got to turn this into a routine. And I mean, seriously, every business in the world has ongoing prospecting, has ongoing marketing, has ongoing advertising. So why do you think you're any different? That should not apply to you. And I know I'm kind of laboring over this point because this is actually one of the big sticking points for you guys, is the decision not to stick with something like this long enough for it to grow and work and turn into a real business. Okay? I mean, it's called shiny object syndrome for a reason. So, in other words, go all in. This is really simple. I'm going to struggle to make this difficult. I'm not going to make it difficult. I'm just teasing. This is just so simple. But so go through. If you haven't gone through the course, go through the course. It's actually very, very easy. And I've got a great question. And Gary, I think it was yours, about upselling. We're going to cover all that. The direct mail, I actually had this mislabeled. And when I looked at it, I said, oh my God. I must have forgotten to save something, or somebody forgot to save something. But anyway, the direct mail video is slightly out of order, frankly, because yours truly forgot to put it in there. So I just popped it in at the end. It's just 10 videos. Okay, so each one of these is, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, long. So you've got 100 minutes, 50 to 100 minutes of stuff to look at, an hour or two to look at. Go through this. It's super simple. What do you do next? I mean, it's one thing to go through a course. It's another thing to actually use it. And that's what I want to talk to you about next. And I'm not going to bore you with stuff, okay? I'm not going to sit here and laboriously do stuff. So if you got a question, fire it off, all right? We're actually going to need this in a minute because we got to go down here and actually look at the sample press release. But anyway, the first thing you do is you're going to install your plugins. You have to have a self-hosted WordPress website. Every now and then I'll get somebody for whom that's a new concept, and that's fine. Everybody has to start somewhere. But so let me define that. You need a domain and you need your own hosting. I have many hosting accounts with many different hosts, hosting companies. I mean, I have extremely expensive ones or really expensive ones like Liquid Web, and I have a few with HostGator. You don't need something really expensive for this at all. A HostGator baby account is plenty robust for this. So if you don't have that, get a domain, go to HostGator, get a baby account. They're going to ask you what the domain is. It all just kind of sets itself up as you sort of go through their little click things. They are used to dealing with people who are not really tech savvy. Install WordPress. You can Google that. That's actually 2 or 3 clicks. I've forgotten how many. It is really easy. And then you're good to go. And then you follow our instructions, which are found in the members area where the plugins are. So this page right here, the software, okay, just open that up and you will see how to install this. The installation, all of these installation videos are for a different plugin of ours. It's called Bubbles. Arthur, is that yeah, Arthur. That's one of the few hosting providers that is not robust enough to even handle this. You know, and I'm not trying to knock it, okay? But we bumped into that. I'm not going to name it out or name the person. We bumped into this in the past. That's fine hosting to absolutely just get started, but you pretty soon really need to move up to something like HostGator. And I think even if you're paying HostGator baby account monthly, that it's only like $12 or $14. I'm trying to think of other hostings that aren't good enough. I mean, this is really handled by the developer, these hosting issues when we get tickets on this. And Vita, can I just send you a private message with the one that Arthur's talking about? Because it's just not good for this. And I'm sending this privately, guys, and that's just because I don't like to slam people, because look, everything has got its uses, right? It's just not really going to work for this or really anything else that a real business is going to need. So Vita, that's the one we're talking about, all right? HostGator baby account. Look. HostGator baby plan. I've had a HostGator account for quite some time. This one, okay? Hatchling, it'll probably work on Hatchling. I know it works on baby because I have several baby accounts and for various things, and we test it. So starting at $3.95 a month, I mean, that's a little bit of a come on, because I think that's if you pay for 3 years. If you buy monthly, if you want to pay for this monthly, it's a little more. I've forgotten how much it is. I mean, you know, again, I have them. It's just automatically taken out of our business account, but it's not enough for me to even think about. Okay, so a HostGator baby account is perfect for this. You don't have to have anything more expensive than that. Yeah, Greg's saying, do you suggest installing this WordPress site as a subdomain on your agency site or as a separate keyword-rich domain? Well, the keyword-rich part, really that doesn't matter because the only reason we put them on HostGator is just to have a place to put it that is actually essentially in the cloud, right? In other words, it's not on your computer. Your computer does not have to be, it has to be on for you to access the site, right? And also, when you make software that people install on their computers, you run into a ton of issues. You would be surprised at the number of people who still have, what was that called? Vista. Okay, they're out there. I had a ticket from a guy last year who still had XP. I'm shocked that it would even work. More power to him. It's just that that's like a Model T compared to a Tesla. It's just not going to work too well. So the keyword rich thing, this is not a matter of traffic. Okay, this is literally a place for you to put two cool pieces of software. You see all of our softwares on this site. Two cool pieces of software in a convenient place for you to use it. That's all this is, Greg. It's not a matter of traffic to your site. You could do it as a subdomain. I don't see why you would want to do it as a subdomain. I would just, if your agency site is a WordPress site, then just put it on there. The only theme that we've ever run across that some of our software doesn't play nicely with, and I think direct mail is not going to work on it, is Optimize Press 2. Okay. No, Robert, there's nothing. Well, there's no page out there that it's not like a sales page, if that's what you mean. There's no page out there that clients are going to find and stuff like that. You are going to, perhaps, I'm going to talk you through how to use this, but you're perhaps going to want to send them a link. I don't. All right, I know that sounds really abstract because I'm not showing you stuff, but Robert, in other words, just hold that thought for a minute. But guys, I'm just reading it. No, you do not need an SSL certificate. You probably, Arthur, want to get that, just in general, but you don't have to have it. Yeah. I think I've covered. I know there's some other questions. Greg, you had another question, I think, that I didn't cover, but I'm just trying to sort of stick to the program here. Now, so direct mail client getter. I have literally been a copywriter probably professionally, not full-time. Full-time would be since about 2009, but professionally for about 2005, 2006. Yeah, it's recorded. Guys, this is recorded. It'll be put in the members area under the bonus tab. So SR, whoever SR is, it's going to be under this tab right here, okay? Give me about 24 hours to give us about 24 hours to get it put up there. So, you bet. Now, the whole goal here, I can sit down and write a direct mail letter that'll actually work to sell virtually anything. But I've had a massive amount of experience doing this, like an ungodly amount of experience, not only in self-education and in taking courses and classes, but also in years of writing copy. Copy is sales text online, okay, or in a physical letter that you get. That's what we call copy. It's the text part. But I've been doing this for years. Most people don't want to wait 15 years until they get good enough to do this. So that's why we created this. And also I created this, I wanted this created for our own business, because if we're just sending out the same thing over and over again, then why screw around with it, right? So first thing you're going to do, according to the training, is you're going to find a certain number of potential prospects to send your direct mail letter to. And it's all covered in the training about how to do that. I give you two ways, avvo.com, avo.com, and LinkedIn. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to want to send them a direct mail letter. So install the plugin. You go here to settings, and I'm not going to make y'all wait while I fill out my name, my address, and all this stuff, but you would fill this out for yourself, all right? If you don't have to, because, you know, some of y'all are new, some of y'all aren't new, and people who are new always have a chicken or egg problem. In other words, and I get this question all the time, Lee, how can I sell something since I've never sold something? Well, I have never been asked for references about anything. You would think that you would be, but I literally have never been. So that issue is not going to come up. But if you do have some experience that you think will help your cause, then you're going to click this and you're going to just write a little blurb about your experience, and then you're going to take all of this stuff and hit submit, and that gets your information into the software. With the software, you can either use my direct mail letter text and my email text, or you can create your own. Why would you want to create your own? Well, you might want to tweak mine for you, which is not a bad idea. I mean, if you're sending out, let's say 50 a week times 50 weeks, what's that, 2,500 pieces of mail a year, you've got enough numbers there to tweak. Now, I like my letter, but maybe you will come up with something to tweak. So if that's the case, then you would go here and you would want to write in the stuff for your own, write in the stuff for your own, either your own direct mail letter or your own email. These two radio buttons will choose direct mail letter or email. So you have that option. You're not forced to use my letter. My letter is very good, but you're not forced to use my letter. You might want to experiment. So that's what custom messages does. But the real magic happens under lead management. So a lead here is defined as an attorney or an attorney firm that you're going to send a direct mail letter to. Thomas, I can get a client, it's according to exactly what part of the country and the actual practice area, but I can get a client with 25 to 50 pieces of mail go out. I don't know what it would be for you guys, okay? Because frankly, Thomas, I am God's gift to selling. I don't mind telling you that, okay? I know that sounds egotistical as hell, but I have literally been selling stuff since I was 12 years old. My dad was sold aluminum siding, among other things, for a living. This would have been counted as child abuse nowadays, but it was just him trying to help me figure, help me learn stuff that would really influence my life. He was a tin man, indeed. Later sold wall-to-wall carpeting. This is back in the 60s when wall-to-wall carpeting, got hot. But my dad insisted that I learn to sell. And even at the tender age of 12, I was made to sell light bulbs door to door and Christmas trees during Christmas time. And this wasn't just some cute little boy walking up to a door and being a cute little boy. I had to have a sales pitch, which I had to write myself. I mean, this was such great training, a little extreme for a 12-year-old. I had to have objections. I had to handle objections. I had to have a close. All right. So in other words, I had a memorized canned pitch, and I could sell the hell out of light bulbs and Christmas trees. So I'm just telling you that I've been selling stuff. Well, it is close to 50 years now. Now you know about how old I am. It is close to 50 years now. I have been selling stuff my entire life. Having said that, Thomas and everybody else, most people haven't, and most people are a little scared of selling, and most people really are completely confused about what selling is in the first place. And most people, even the ones who aren't, spend way too much time trying to do what I call beating a dead horse, right? Which is trying to get somebody to buy who's not going to buy. And so the selling is baked into this system. In other words, Thomas and everybody else, you do not have to be, yeah, if you're really good at selling, you've been selling stuff for decades, you're going to have a better conversion rate. If you are new to selling, you don't particularly like selling, you would really rather sit in the corner of a library and read a book than sell, which given my druthers, I would actually rather do anyway, although I'm good at selling. But you know, if that's you, I mean, if selling is really not your deal, then your conversion rate is probably going to be a little higher. How high is it going to be? I don't know. I've never measured it. It is not going to be so high that your return on investment is not going to make sense. Okay, so that I'm doing my best to answer that question. I always get that question when I talk about direct mail. It's a fair question, but I'm doing my best to answer that question in its totality. So a lead is defined as a prospect that you're going to send a direct mail letter to. And we talked about, it's all in the training about where you get that, right? And you're going to upload your leads to the software. See where I clicked new lead? You can do this one at a time, add lead manually, or you can download the sample CSV file. And if you will read these instructions, you will learn that the headings across the top need to start with a capital letter and then the rest. So name, company name, mailing address, and all that stuff. Okay, so just read the instructions. Download the CSV file, put them on the CSV file, save that on your computer like on your desktop. This is just like uploading anything. Choose that, you know, go choose the file, upload it, and then you will see all those leads populate here. All right. Now, I haven't done that here because this is a demo account. Now, so that's how you get leads into the software. And so now you're ready. And once you get to that point, you're ready to go. So guys, really what would be smart, considering that I told you to do this consistently, would be to figure out how many letters you're going to send out per week. And then either in your off selling time, so the weekend or in the evening, do the computer stuff, you know, the actual finding of the leads and put them on the spreadsheet. So let's say I was going to send out 10 letters a day, 5 days a week. That's 50. So now I know that I need to sit in front of my computer for, I mean, it's going to take you all of 20 minutes once you get good at it, and find 50 new the information about 50 new attorneys and attorney firms to put on my spreadsheet and upload to my direct mail client getter. David, I'm pretty sure that's all covered in the training. Now, once you do that, you're going to, that little button allows you to edit your setting information. Okay, just showing you that. But once you do that, then you go here. And for each of those leads, so if we have more than, we have just an example, I mean, it's not a person, it's just numbers, just to create a thing. But if you had like 10 leads, you would have 10 of these rows, right? Okay, so for each one of these rows, you're going to click that. We're going to, remember I told you that you could use my letter or you could use your own letter. Well, if you use your own letter and you put it in the way I showed you to, you're going to give it a name and the name will pop up here. So you might want, again, you might want to experiment with different letters and do some A/B split testing. That would be why you need to name them, right? So you can either use mine, or let's say you had 4 of yours, you can choose your 4, and then you're going to download that letter. Let's just download this here. Okay. And here's the letter. Why does it come out on a text file? Because I don't know. You have a lot of different kinds of computers. I can't really tell how your specific computer is going to format stuff. And quite frankly, it's just, you need to put this on something that you're going to print out. And again, you got Macs, you got PCs. You know, it's a little hard from a software point of view for us to just come out with a completely formatted thing. So, but anyway, copy that, put it on. I mean, if you're on a PC, you got Word, put it on that, print it out. And somebody asked me about paper. I'm going to talk about paper in a sec. You got a Mac, put it on whatever we have a Mac for our business, but I've never used it. We just have it, you know, to create stuff with, right? But I don't use it. And so I don't know the name of the word processor on a Mac. But anyway, put it there, print your letters out, and then go about the how to mail part, right? Eddie, the replay will be posted. Usually I can get it posted by later on today, but I always promise to get it posted. Unless the Earth gets hit by an asteroid or something like that, I always promise to get it posted within 24 hours. So go here, and this will tell you exactly what to do. Now, somebody asked what kind of paper. You don't want to use you're mailing stuff to attorneys, okay? They drive around in Mercedes and BMWs. They may be broke as hell, but they don't want to look broke, all right? I mean, going to law school, I was just listening to a thing on the radio about going to law school. It is remarkably expensive. Jonathan, that's a fabulous question. I'm going to answer that in just a second. So, you know, your average attorney really wants to look good and really is interested in stuff that looks good. Now, having said that, you don't have to like buy the most expensive paper available, but just don't buy like the total low-end paper. You know, like you get a ream of 500 pages of paper that's about the thickness of toilet paper, something like that. Don't buy crap like that, all right? Decent paper, but it doesn't have to be expensive. Now, you're going to mail this in a manila envelope. The reason you're going to, and this is, we go over this whole thing here. So I'm not going to, I'm not going to go over in detail. I show you on Amazon exactly what you should buy, but you're going to mail in a manila envelope. Why? I show you exactly how to address it. The whole reason here is attorneys get mail, right? You know, a dentist doesn't get that much mail. And if they do get mail, then that mail is usually an advertisement, all right? Unless it's from their bank or their accountant or something like that, but then they can look on the letter and see who it's from. But they don't get that much mail just from a lot of different places. Attorneys actually do. So, and we're not being sneaky. We're just not trying to yell out, you know, hey, this is you know, we're trying to sell you something here, right? We actually do want the person to open up the manila envelope. So talk all about how to address it and how to mail it. In other words, first class. In the United States with a stamp, you're not mailing enough stuff to do bulk mail, but even if you were, an amazing percentage of bulk mail in the United States gets burned. No joke. By the United States, by the post office, because they just can't. They're just overwhelmed. So mail it like I tell you to. And again, this is not hard, guys. So figure out who your prospects are. It's going to take 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Once you get good at it, upload your CSV file. And then on some sort of weekly or daily basis, I would not do it on a monthly basis. Okay, that's going to screw you up. I would do it on a weekly or daily basis. Download X number of these things and mail them out. And whatever your interval of time is, if it's on Monday and you just do it on Mondays, then just send your whole week's worth of mailing out on Mondays. But every Monday you send that out, right? So the same number goes out every single Monday. Then the next thing you're going to do is Give your mail enough time to get there. It's probably going to take, I mean, like if I were mailing something from here to, I don't know, some little town in Iowa or something. I live in the, for those of y'all who don't know United States geography, I live in Georgia, which is at the bottom right-hand corner of the United States. If the United States were a box, were a rectangle, it's at the bottom right-hand corner. The state of Iowa is right in the middle. So, or somewhere in the middle. So if you were mailing it to a little town in Iowa, it's probably going to take 3 days to get there. So I always do my email follow-up 5 days later, because that way I know that it got there and they've had time to, open it. Okay, so 5 days later. And how do you do that? Well, you don't need an emailing, program. You don't need anything fancy to do this. You can email from a Gmail account. I mean, so because you're not sending out enough stuff per unit time for Gmail to wonder why you're sending out so much stuff. I mean, you are, you're going to be sending out, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 emails a week. And most people do that on a, most people send out that many, far more than that number of emails a week. So you can do this on a Gmail account. All right. So in other words, the beauty of this is you don't need anything fancy, but you do need to be consistent. Jonathan asked me if you could email and skip the direct mail. I mean, you can, Jonathan, but your conversion rate is going to plummet. I didn't say go down. I said plummet. I don't. I like direct mail because it pulls my conversion rate way up. But if you were just going to do email, just think about it. I mean, you're just going to have to send out an ungodly number of emails to get somebody, reading the email, deciding to reply to the email or calling you back or whatever. I'm not saying, and so Jonathan, that gets into a whole nother world of technology. Okay, because I mean, then you would have to scrape all those emails. You would have to understand how to clean all of those emails. You would have to have some sort of emailing program where that didn't get its IP addresses blocked and didn't mail to traps and stuff like that. I mean, there is a lot to know about cold email. So yeah, you could. It's just that I don't, because direct mail. With direct mail works so well, right? And because the person sees a letter. And another thing, guys, who gets direct mail nowadays? Yeah, Arthur says direct mail used to be a huge business. Absolutely. But who gets direct mail nowadays? Virtually no one, right? I mean, so I'll get a letter from, what's that, AAA, the car company. If your car breaks down, they'll tow your car and all that stuff. And we've been members of AAA for God knows decades. So I'm on their mailing list, right? So every once in a while I get a direct mail letter trying to sell me life insurance or something else. By the way, those are some of the best written letters ever. So I always save them and read them. But it stands out, right? I mean, so I'm just reading another. Yeah, Geico credit card. Yeah, you get credit card offers and stuff like that. But I mean, you don't get a lot. You don't get many letters. Okay, I mean, you get fancy stuff. You get mailers, but you don't get many letters. Attorneys get stuff mailed to them all the time. Somebody in that firm, whether it's the attorney or the practice manager, is going to open that. So you're pretty well guaranteed that a human being is going to look at it. All right. So. Yeah, Richard, I don't do voice drops. There's no reason why I don't do voice drops except that I don't need to. So I can't comment as to all of that stuff. You know, I've just never needed to do that. I mean, I think it's a completely legitimate way of doing things. So, yeah, Gail, thank you for reminding me about that, Gail. You can try that. Okay, try that. I will. I've done it both ways. I don't see a ton of difference between the two, but I would suggest that you try that. You probably just want to mail out the letter as is first, and then so that you have something to test against. And you would want to mail, let's say you would want to mail out the letter. Gail's asking, should you send a sample press release with the letter? I mean, you know, you try it and see. I don't see a lot of difference. Like I said, I don't see a lot of difference between the two. But if I were you guys and wanted to test that, I would test it on, let's say, divorce attorneys. Yeah, Arthur, that's a really good point. I would test it on divorce attorneys in 2 different cities, the cities being approximately the same size. Des Moines and San Antonio, I'm guessing, are about the same size. I don't know. And, you know, just check your numbers and see what works. I think San Antonio is about 1 million people, but I'm not sure. But Gail, another issue, and Art just mentioned this, and I was going to say it. Honestly, guys, the less information you can give people, the better off you're going to be, for 2 reasons. One, the more information you give people, your prospects, the people do not like to buy anything. They don't like to be sold anything, right? So they're always looking for a way to get out. They're always looking for a way to just drop out of the whole thing and come up with a reason not to spend their money, right? So Gail, the more information you give them, the more opportunity you're going to give them to say no. I'm just sitting here thinking about this. I haven't included a press release for some time, but I did in the past. So in other words, bottom line, try it and see what happens. It's not like with it, it's going to work extremely well, and without it, it's not going to work at all. Like, it's not like that. Okay, you're going to see some fine differences. So when you download this and you refresh this, I think I downloaded it. Well, at some point, I actually going to ask the developer about this. That should change colors. Okay, so I'll tell the developer that I was on the webinar and that didn't change colors. But when you download your direct mail letter, this should change colors, telling you that you've downloaded the direct mail letter, and this is green because you have to send out the email, right? So that's what the colors are for. And when you download the email, that should change colors. Let me make myself a note here. Direct mail client getter. We'll see why that didn't do that. You know, we're constantly fixing little bugs. You know, we test software as much as we can on different hosting accounts, but there is no test like having 1,000 people buy something and all using it. It's just way too complex. So that's why but as we find bugs, we fix those, and then you will be notified in where the plugins are. Okay. Just for most of y'all know this. Looks like we got a little something on the site. This is a site that we do a lot of experimentation on, so that really has nothing to do with anything. But I don't see a plugin here that needs updating. But your WordPress site, you would have a number out here saying that something needed to be updating when we push out an update, and then you can just go. It'll have a little thing for you to click, and then it'll update itself. Updating is not hard. Where was I? Here we go. So that's direct mail client getter, right? Now, how to use Press Release Genie. When someone's interested in this, guys, okay, they're going to email you back. They're going to call you. They're going to, you know, maybe the attorney's interested in it. They get the office manager to call you. Don't think of that as like a full-blown sales call, because it's not. That's why the direct mail letter is written the way it is, and that's why you send out the email. Really, all you want to do is you want to treat that incoming call in exactly the same way that Domino's would treat an incoming call if I were to order a large pizza for takeout tonight. In other words, you just want to find out what the most people, like over 50% of people who email you back or call you back, they're pretty ready to buy anyway. So your goal is to not screw it up. In other words, just take the freaking order. If they do have an issue, you know, a question, like, notice we don't say how much it is, and most people obviously want to know how much it is, but if they want to, you know, tell you how much it is, then tell them. And if they want to know another question, you know, they're really not, you know, it's so simple. They're really not that many questions. They're just not that many questions possible. So answer people's questions. So I get on the phone with somebody, I answer their questions, and then I always say, are you ready to get going with this today? Are you ready to get going with this today? That is my quintessential trial close statement. Naeem, great question. Hang on. A lot of people will say yes. You know, some people will say no. If somebody does say no, then say, well, what other questions could I, you know, you got some other questions I need to answer? Maybe not. Maybe they were just calling up. You know, we don't want to beat dead horses. We don't want to waste our time and energy trying to convert the unconvertible, right? So just drop that person and move on. The beauty of this is in the front end letters going out. You want to keep that up, and you want to basically be picking the low-hanging fruit. You do not want to be stressing out about selling somebody who's being really hard to sell to, because they're going to be a pain in the butt, frankly. All right. And it's just it's an emotional drag, and it's using way too much energy. So the other part of follow-up, is this, and Naeem, this is going to answer your question. Many of you are not going to do this, all right? I understand that. What I'm about to say. It's all covered in the training, by the way. But the other part of follow-up is, after the direct mail letter, after the email, give it a couple of days and call them back. You're going to pick up the phone and actually make a call. Now, I'm not trying to be negative. I just know from coaching people and creating lots of training products and doing a lot of webinars with people, I know that the majority of y'all are not going to do this. But if you would do this, your conversion rate is going to skyrocket. And it's really not that hard. All you're doing is calling the business. You can call the attorney. Look, guys, it's an attorney. You're not going to get them on the phone. You're going to get their voicemail. All right? All you're going to do is call them up, say, hi, I'm going to use your name, Arthur Williams. Hi, this is Arthur Williams. Sent you a letter about our press release service about a week ago, and also a follow-up email. Just wanted to touch base with you, let you know that I'm a real person, that I'm really here. This is my phone number, blah, 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 blah. And I'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions that you want to. And if you've been doing this a while, you can tell them you've been doing this a while, right? If you haven't, if you're brand new, don't worry about, trying to pretend that you're not brand new. Just tell people the truth. They're not going to ask you anyway. And that's all you do. But if you will make that simple call, and again, the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to get the receptionist. If it's a larger firm, you're going to get the receptionist who's going to send you to the voicemail of either the practice manager or the whatever attorney you sent it to. Okay. and just say, hey, all you're doing is say, hey, I mailed you this. This is what we do. Mailed you this. Sent you an email. We help, practices like yours with press releases. And just want to let you know I'm here. I'm a real person. I always say that. Just want to let you know I'm here. I'm a real person. This is my phone number. If this is of interest, in other words, you don't want to be pushy. You want to pull back. If this is of interest to you, please give me a call back. I'd be more than happy to talk to you about how we can help you out with this, and have a great day. If you would just make that simple call, like make that 2 days after the email goes out, or you can make it the day after the email goes out. You don't have to wait as long for the direct mail letter because it's, it gets there essentially in real time, right? But you do want to give them enough time to actually find it and see that it's in their inbox at least, right? And if you will make that one call, your conversion rate is going to skyrocket. So Naeem, this is the answer to your question. Naeem said, well, what if you can't find an email address? Most of these guys and girls, and when I say guys, I mean people of both sexes, most of these people, you can find their email addresses fairly easily. Attorneys need business. It is a hyper competitive world. They really, really need business, and they really, really need people who are getting divorces, who want to sue their doctor, who have their third DUI. God bless those people. You really want those. They really want those people to be able to get hold of them somehow. So the emails are generally pretty easy to find. So, but Naeem, if you can't find one, then I would go direct mail letter. Give it about 4 days to 5 days, and then call them back and just say, instead of I sent you a direct mail letter and email, just say sent you a direct mail letter. It's all about our press release service. We work with clients like yours, and I have no idea what that means. And just want to let you know I'm a real person. Happy to answer all your questions. Here's my phone number. Give me a call. Be more than happy to talk to you. You want it a very casual conversation. You don't want to sound like a salesperson. You just want to sound like you ran into a friend at the bookstore or at Starbucks. That's all you want to sound like, okay? You just ran into somebody you used to work with 3 jobs ago. Hey, so-and-so, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing great. Well, I see you're leaving. By the way, here's my phone number. Give me a call. Let's catch up sometime. You want it to have that kind of lightness to it. All right. And yeah, so if you will, Naeem, that's what you do, and everybody else, if you will add that, your conversion rate is going to skyrocket. So once you actually get somebody who says, yeah, I'm ready to go, then you're going to have to create a press release. Now, you can do one of 2 things. You can use Press Release Genie. I'm going to give you 3 ways to do this. All right. You can use Press Release Genie and let it create the press release. Yes, you do have to be able to write a sentence that starts with a capital letter, has a subject and a verb, and ends with a period, or perhaps a question mark. You don't see question marks a lot in press releases, but yeah. But I'm assuming everybody here at least went through 5th grade, because it's by the time you get through 5th grade, you can do this. You can, and I'm going to go over with you how I do this, all right, how I interact with the client. But you're going to fill out all this stuff on Press Release Genie, and then you're just going to let it create your press release for you, or you're going to use that as raw material, find someone to rewrite it for you if you just think your writing sucks, and that's going to be fairly inexpensive for something that short. A press release is 200, 300, 400 words. We're talking about 30 or 40 bucks, and this is just built back into the price, so it's not money out of your pocket. And guys, you get paid up front before anything gets done. Do not split up your payments. Do not do it and then expect to get paid. You get paid up front before anything gets done. And so if you think your writing sucks, or you're just worried about it, then use Press Release Genie to gather the information, print that out, send that to somebody who's a better writer than you are. You can find these people all day long on Fiverr, and really, they're pretty good. Not the $5 people, but the $30, $40, $50 people for rewriting stuff, they're pretty good, okay? Get somebody to rewrite it who understands how to write grammatical English. Bam, you're done. Or worst case, just use Press Release Genie and just make some notes in the various fields and then send that to a press release writer and say, here's the questions I asked, here's the notes I took, create an entire press release for me. So you have those three options, all right? And that's really according to how comfortable you are writing. And I realize that not everybody likes to write, and we're literally only talking about a few hundred words, but not only everybody likes to write, not everybody feels good about it, but you have a range of options to do those. So let's go here. So I click Form Setup. Now, I'm not going to go over all the details about how to use the software because it is spelled out, I think, very clearly in the training. But I just want to tell you a couple of things. Today, I'm talking more about client interaction, all right? So you're going to put as we show you in the training, put your logo here, your header. This is essentially the title. What you say, thank you. If you've got a website with a legal link and a support link and you want to include those, you can include all that stuff here. But the thing that you're going to do is you can do one of two things. Did you see how I clicked this and got that form? You can do one of two things. You can just send this to your client and have them fill it out. That's not how I do it. Or you can just get on the phone with your client. This is going to take literally 30 minutes. I mean, you've got to get the information about the press release somehow, right? I mean, that has to come somehow. And you're going to fill out this stuff. Now, this becomes part of the press release, not the whole thing, but let's go over this. Every legal press release I've ever written, everyone I've ever read, you describe what the firm does. Okay, I mean, or do they handle divorce law, or do they handle all kinds of stuff? Are they handling international business? Whatever. You describe what they do, and you also give the history of the firm, because it's just really, this stuff is what you call boilerplate in press release language. Well, guess what? Your client already has this. Their chances are your clients created a press release or two, or probably more. They really probably like press releases. They don't have time to do them. That's why they're interested in hiring you to do them. So they probably already have somewhere a blurb about the history of the firm. Get them to send it to you, all right? Get them to, tell you what kinds of law they practice. Guys, attorneys are super busy. They're literally working 80 hours a week. Go to their website and just pull this off the website, all right? But I would, just okay it with the client, right? And then make sure that you get the right contact person. The contact person that actually shows up on the press release itself when it's published, so you want the right contact person. If the lawyer's in like a 10 attorney firm and really they don't want to screw around talking to people who are going to call them about some crap, right? They, probably have an office manager and want the office manager to do that. So you would make the office manager the contact. All right, because again, this shows up on the press release. So you fill all that stuff out, you click submit. Again, this gets that information into the software. You will see the saved data here, and then you click this and create a client from that saved data. Now, the reason, just so you know, that we do this in 2 steps is so that a hacker or a spammer can't find these links, which they can find, but they can't find these links and just send you a bunch of garbage via your website. That's why we break this up, frankly. I mean, it would be a little easier if we didn't, but also you would have a bunch of garbage eventually coming into your website that you would have to deal with. So then you go to clients. Okay, so once you do that, you go to clients. And let me move some little boxes here. Most of your attorney clients are going to know what they want a press release written about. If they don't, then you can use what we call a topic tickler. Okay, so create a topic here, and we have a whole bunch of questions that you can ask them that this is like brainstorming that's going to say firm news, anything new going on. oh yeah, Lee, we just won this huge case about blah, 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 blah. Well, man, that would be a great thing to write a press release about. Okay, so one huge case, all right? And you wouldn't want to name the topic because the name of the topic shows here. Now, this is just an example. It says one, but it's going to have a name for this client, all right? And you can edit the topic and all that stuff. Now, the press release gets created here. The way I do it is click that. This puts your topics up here so you can refer to them. Like if you've got a client and you're going to send you're going to send out one press release per month, and you might want to, this would be a really good idea, get together with them or their office manager for an hour or two at the beginning of the year, or right now, and we're going to do this through next February or whatever, and you might want to brainstorm 12 topics, all right, just so that you take the workload off of them, and you've already got it figured out, you already know what you're doing, and then you would have all these topics, and your topics for this client would all appear here, and we'd have a little pull down menu of one big case, new partner, opening up a new office. I mean, you know, there's really not, attorneys generally, Desmond, if it doesn't say it needs updating, then you have the latest version. Attorneys generally, I mean, there's just not that many things they can talk about, right? You know, there's not a lot of creativity going on here is what I'm saying. And there doesn't have to be. So the next thing I do is I name the press release, and I just go through all of these fields with my client on the phone, and I write down as they talk. I'm not writing down their words, I'm making notes. I write down as they talk what's going on. All right, so state the newsworthy event. Jessica so-and-so, who's worked with our firm for 4 years, has now been made partner. You know, that kind of thing. So you would make notes here. And this is just this process I go through. You want to, I'm not going to kill you with talking about all these fields because we go over this in the training. You want to basically read these, okay? So why would anybody care? Let's go with the Jessica thing. And don't worry, I'm not going to bore you as I just go through this whole thing. Jessica so-and-so, who worked with our firm for 4 years, was just made partner, blah, 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 blah. Well, why would you care? I mean, you know, ask your client, well, besides Jessica making more money, why would the readers of the press release give a flip? Oh, Lee, the reason that this is so important is because we wanted to move into international business law for some time, but we didn't really have a partner who was a specialist in it, and Jessica is. See, that's why, you know, think about the person reading the press release. So that's why that is important. This is not just, the press release is supposed to do something besides just make an announcement that nobody gives a flip about. It's not, but in a way, it's kind of a weird kind of a sales letter. It's supposed to get attention back to the client, right? Well, let's say that somebody was Googling international business attorneys in Atlanta, and they might easily come across this press release, and so they would say, oh, well, that firm, I've heard of that firm, they're pretty good. Oh, they've got this new, you know, I need somebody, you know, with, you know, I've got some South Americans, you know, companies that I'm working with, and I need somebody who's, you know, an expert in international law. I'm going to call them. So in other words, you got to think about why the reader of the press release would care. Okay, so help and ask your client that. Say, okay, well, great. I'm glad that y'all made Jessica a partner. By the way, why did you do that? Why would that be of importance to your potential clients? So ask them that, fill that in here. Attorney press releases always include the bios, or should always include the bios of all of the attorneys mentioned in the press release. Now, it may be that 3 people were recently made partner, okay, for 3 different reasons. And then you would include 3 different bios. they've already got these bios on their websites, guys. So yeah, I would just ask my client and said, you want me to just go to your website and just copy Jessica's bio from the page where it shows all the partners? Yeah, Lee, that'd be great, and that's fine with. Okay, cool. By the way, you're going to send a copy of the press release off to the client before you publish it. Okay. Good press releases always have a good quote. So as you're going through this stuff, be listening for something that sounds like a good quote. So, I just asked the person I was talking to why they made Jessica a partner. Jessica was the top attorney and the valedictorian of the law school. She did this, that. She served on this and that committee, blah, 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 blah. And great question, Arthur. Hang on a second. She served in this and that committee, blah, 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 blah. And that's a great quote. So make a note of the quote. Now, Arthur just asked, do I ever record this conversation? Always record this conversation. I like to do this with Zoom. I mean, I can do it on a phone. Obviously, you could do it on anything, but you can do it. Zoom works. Zoom's free. Zoom actually records stuff. The reason I like Zoom is because I want people to see my face. By the way, so that means don't wear a Metallica t-shirt, a torn Metallica t-shirt from the 80s, your favorite torn Metallica t-shirt from the 80s, and your hair's all screwed up when you're talking to an attorney. All right. Now, I don't care if you're sitting there in your underwear, right? But at least look like a pro. So just have, in my office here, I have shirts to wear when I'm talking to people that I need to not look like a guy who mainly wears t-shirts. Okay, I just change into the shirt. I sit down. I look at Zoom. I'm looking good. I look like a professional guy, right? The conversation's over with. I don't like wearing shirts like that with collars. It's just not me. I take the shirt off. I hang it back in the little closet there. I put my t-shirt and my sweatshirt, whatever I'm wearing, back on. I'm comfortable again, but to the client, I looked like I was a boss. Okay, so do that. And you're going to explore the why some more. And again, I'm not going to go over all these fields with you, okay? But all of this stuff is designed because you're trying to root out from the client. You're trying to dig down into the client's mind. You're trying to root out cool stuff that will make this a killer press release. All right. And so if you will fill out all these blanks. So what I do is I fill out these blanks and I save it. Now, I'm not sitting here doing my best writing while I'm talking about, so I might say, hired Jessica, look on site for bio, international law. Okay, so I do it like that, right? Yes, of course, Arthur. I mean, you rapidly get better at this. I do something like that. I save this, then I go back and I straighten it out. All right, but I don't need to waste my client's time while I'm sitting here trying to futz around figuring out the best adjective to use in a certain place, okay? And again, if you're not comfortable with your writing, some of you are and some of you aren't, okay? If you're not comfortable with your writing, then do your best, send it off to somebody on Fiverr for 30, 40, or 50 bucks and let them polish it up for you. That would be a good thing to do. So fill all this stuff out, hit save the press release. It'll save. Notice you can always edit your press release here. Now there's nothing on here, okay, because this is just showing you where the blanks are. But all that stuff, had I saved the thing I wrote about Jessica, it'll all be here. Then you can go back when you're not wasting your client's time. You can go back and you can straighten this out, all right? And if you're recording your conversation, you might say, God, I really wished I had written that down, and I know she said that to me, and it'd be a better quote than the one that I made a note of. I'm going to go back and listen to the recording and find that other quote. Polish it up for them. You're charging them a fair amount of money for this. Polish it up for them. Save it again. You've got your press release. It's a done deal. Close that window, and then you will be able to click that, and you will be able to download your press release, okay? download the press release, send it to your client, let them okay it, and then go over to, I like PR Web. I detest cheap press release services. This is not an SEO ploy. This is not about getting a bunch of backlinks on a site that really does not have the authority that you think it has anyway, and trying to rank some. This is not what this is about. This is about old style marketing. You're creating a really polished press release for a client who expects a really polished press release. These guys, like I said, these guys live in big houses. They drive Mercedes and BMWs. They go on vacations. They don't go to the Gulf of Mexico. They go to some fancy place in the Caribbean. They're used to spending money. They want to spend money. Give them the type of top drawer service that they really, really want. All right. In other words, publish it. The typical press release, Arthur, is probably 300, 400, 500, 600 words, something like that. 800 or 900 words would be. One might, yeah, for everything. One might. I mean, you can have press releases that are longer if you've just got something so freaking detailed that you need to explain it. But really, a press release. Think about it, Arthur. A press release is nothing more than an announcement. All right, it's just an announcement. Hey, this thing here happened. Here's why it's important. Here's a great quote about it. And by the way, here's the information if you need something like this, right? That's what a press release is for. It's not, if somebody needs explaining about, so-and-so won some case, you know, that was a landmark case about thus and so, and you need an attorney who can do that. You're not going to get all your information from the press release. You're just going to learn who the attorney is, and then you're going to call them up and ask them, right? Or you're at least going to go to their website and, yeah, exactly. You're at least going to go to the website and find out more. Yeah, press releases are not aimed at the people, the same people that, you know, those big signs for personal injury attorneys on buses. Now, this is in the United States. I don't know what's happening somewhere else, but here, every bus, it seems like, has this giant sign that looks like a movie advertisement and is for a personal injury attorney. This is not aimed at the people that hire them. This is not aimed at them, okay? Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with personal injury attorneys. They make great clients, but that's not what this is for. That's not this kind of marketing, okay? This is a little bit more top drawer marketing. That's it, guys. I said I was going to do it faster, and I ended up not doing it faster. I apologize. I'm really trying to get faster because I'm just so cognizant of your time. That's it, guys. This is not hard. This is not hard. Okay? This is really just a matter of you're doing it. Richard, you've got a question. Richard, I don't talk to, are they going to get new clients from press release? Absolutely. Richard says, do attorneys expect getting new clients from press release? Yes. Now, do they expect when they issue one press release that they're going to get 2.54 clients? No. A press release is very much like a billboard, okay? Does Ford think that it's going to make more sales because it put up a bunch of billboards along expressways in the United States? Absolutely. Are they, yeah, hang on, Gary. Are they going to put up a billboard on, I don't know, I-75 going from Atlanta down to South Georgia, Valdosta, around Macon, which is like a third of the way from Atlanta? And are they expecting to get 2.54 car sales from that particular billboard? No, they're not. So that's really, yeah, that's really what this is about. Gary went through the course, didn't get conversion press release, $1,000 a month client. There are not that many. There are many lawyers who, Gary, I'm not sure if you're saying there are not that many lawyers who haven't claimed their, Gary, are you saying that most lawyers have claimed their Google My Business listing? I think that's what Gary's saying. There are three things going on with Google My Business. One is the claiming of the listing. Yeah, most people have claimed them, okay? But if they're claimed, they're probably not optimized at all. I mean, they probably don't have good pictures. You know, the name, address, and phone number is probably screwed up compared to other stuff. Gail, hang on. Great question. The name, address, and phone number is probably screwed up compared to other stuff. I mean, it has to be identical everywhere. There's that issue. You've got Google Posts if you want to get into that thing. So just on a one-off sale, there's virtually for every person, for every business with a Google My Business listing, there's something good for you to do that's going to really help them a lot. But then you've got the issue of ranking, Gary, and that's really where we get into this. You've got the issue of ranking in the 3-pack. That's why I included these 2 courses right here. Instead of just doing the whole thing all over again, James, there is a replay. Give us about a day to get it up in the members area. It'll be there. Instead of just redoing this all over again, these are great courses. I included these courses, and this shows you how to sell a Google optimizing service. In other words, it's a one-off. It's a one-off payment to optimize the page. Citations is all about getting that page to rank in the 3 box. And I even linked to Jim Mack's one of his trainings about Google My Business. The reason from the members area, the reason I linked to that is, quite frankly, to my mind, that's really the best training I've ever seen right here. So click that link. It's very inexpensive. Jim is an absolute master at Google My Business, and yeah, Google My Business is really important, Arthur. I mean, it's just super important. It's really important because, especially if you're Googling stuff on your phone, which most people do nowadays. I mean, looking for stuff on the phone. Some guy's getting a divorce from his wife. He's going to sit in his car all bent out of shape, Googling that on his phone. All right. Gisela, I personally would charge no less than $500 for the press release itself and build in the fee for publishing it on top of that. But that would be the minimum. So Gary, the process to upsell. Really simple. Now, this is the information about what to do. Guys, that is my dog drinking out of his bowl. Forget him. The process to upsell is really, really, really simple. When you publish the press release, you always want to do this with sales. Every time somebody buys something from you, give them a couple of days and call them back. And just make sure they're satisfied. That is nothing but good business. But Gary, when you do that, you will have looked at their Google My Business page. You will have noted what needs to be changed. You will have checked them out for intelligent keyword searches. Granted, if you don't live in their city, your results are not going to be exactly like theirs and all that stuff. Okay, I got that. That really doesn't matter. But you're going to check that out. And all I do is mention, I said, by the way, do you like the press release? Yeah, I love that. By the way, I was looking at your Google page. Google's really important for your business. You got a couple of issues with it. Would you like to, you're probably missing some business because you've got some issues with this. Would you like to just schedule a couple of minutes for me to sit down and point out what's wrong with it to you? And I'll just get them on another Zoom thing. You can screen share on Zoom. I'll point out what's wrong and ask them if they want me to fix it. And by the way, I would get on here. I would do this, well, get on Google, but I would do a search and I would say, if they're not in the same city I am, my results are not going to be exactly like your results, but really, by and large, you're not showing up very well for a search that a lot of people are going to be doing when they're trying to find you for what you do. We can help you with that also. Are you interested in that? And that's how you segue into that conversation, Gary. Deliver the press release, call them back a couple of 3 days later, make sure they're happy, check out their Google page beforehand, check out their rankings beforehand, and don't make it a sale. Just make it, I'm telling you about something else that's really important for your business. I can help you with this. Do you want help with it? Okay, about half of them are going to let you do this, right? Cool beans. Anything else I can help you with? We've gone on an hour and a half. I had thought I could do this in 30 minutes. Apparently I can't. I apologize for taking so long. but it's all good information. Anything, any question? I think I've got all of our previous questions. Richard, you were asking about the gatekeeper. Richard, the whole gatekeeper thing is a freaking myth. You need to just get that idea out of your head. But the reason you mail it to them in the manila envelope is because they're going to see it. Okay, they're attorneys, they're used to getting mail, they're used to opening mail, somebody's going to see it. Bam, you're beyond the gatekeeper. But Richard, really, for sales purposes, you need to quit believing in the gatekeeper myth. It is nothing more than just an insidious myth. I think I've covered virtually all the questions. Anything else anybody want to ask me? Yes, it's Robert, it's not a theme. These are just plugins that we use to manage our direct mail with and also to manage the creation of the press release. Your website has a theme, which is the client or the visitor facing part of your website. This has nothing to do with that. You just make your theme whatever you want to make it, and you have your home page and your about page and all that stuff. This has nothing to do with that. WordPress is merely just a convenient place to hang this software where I know that I'm going to have uniformity. So now I don't have to worry if you're on a Mac. I don't have to worry if you're a dinosaur and you're using XP. I don't have to worry about all this other stuff. PR Web, Gail. This is the only place. It's owned by a company called Cision. And no, Desmond, they're slightly different. Don't delete the old one. If you'll look at the questions, they're slightly different because they're supposed to be that way. I've got an account here, but you create an account and then you go in here and it tells you about the pricing. Let's see if we can get the pricing without logging in. Pure Web pricing. Was that it? I don't think this is going to be it. That's not. I don't think it's going to tell us what we need. Compare packages. Let's try this. Yeah. So Gail and everybody else, you can see the prices for the packages. Don't use the basic. The basic does not have the coverage. For an attorney, you do not need to be, they don't need to be doing it the cheap route, okay? Standard, I would use standard or above. You can read everything that you get with this. If you get up into premium, then you can add videos and other multimedia to your press release. That's a cool thing to do, but you don't have to do that. And then that's just, it's going to cost your client a lot more. And I'm not saying it's not good. It's good to do. It's going to cost your client a lot more, and it's going to take you a lot more time to create the press release. All right. So if you get up into the really expensive ones, that's what they're for. That's what they are there for. So advanced is really good. $300. So if you charge, Gail, if you charge $500 minimum for the press release plus $300 for the distribution, then $800. That makes total sense. All right. So guys, let me pop this in the chat for you, and so that y'all can look at this page. I showed this page on a video, but I'm not sure if I actually gave you the link. I probably should have. So Gail, click that so you have it on your computer. Check that out. Read through here. It's going to explain to you everything that you get, okay? But don't go cheap. Anything else? Going once, going twice, going 3 times. Cool beans. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for buying this. I hope you're enjoying it. Thank you, Gail. Really appreciate that. Give us about a day to get it up in the members area. Usually we can get it up faster than that, but in case something happens, give me about 24 hours. It will be there under the bonuses tab. Thank you so much. Really enjoyed talking to you about this, and we'll talk to you very, very soon.